Hello there, and welcome back to the show. And today I'm going to be talking about the animated series released by Marvel and DC during the 2000s, and I'm going to rank them and place them in tiers from D tier all the way to S tier. I'm going to rank them from in terms of enjoyment, what I enjoyed least, all the way to what I enjoyed most. This is just my opinion, and well, let's get started, shall we? Alright, starting off with D tier, and at 16th place we have Crypto the Super Dog. When I was a kid and this show came up on TV, I thought it was fine, but wasn't anything special. So just like a way to fill 20 minutes of free time. So that's how I feel about Crypto the Super Dog. Moving on to number 15, we have Legion of Superheroes. I really like Yuri Lowenthal, great voice actor in my opinion, and I like the concept of the show taking Superman from present day, sending him into the future. However, really wasn't a big fan of how the Legion of Superheroes cartoon played out, which is why I'm placing it in D tier at 15th place. And rounding out D tier at 14th place, we have the Superhero Squad show. Gonna be honest, the opening song of the show was awesome, but again, this was mostly for comedic purposes. And again, watching this as a kid, thought it was very enjoyable, but I mean, going back to it, not a whole lot of substance there. But that opening song was still pretty awesome. And well, that rounds out D tier. Alright, moving into C tier, and at 13th place we have Static Shock. I enjoyed Static Shock when watching it as a kid on TV. I thought the two main characters, Static and Gear, were very compelling, and I like that Static Shock took a look at some serious topics and themes. The show definitely knew how to tell stories. However, the reason I'm placing it in C tier is because compared to everything else that was on TV at the time, I just didn't enjoy it as much when I was younger. So that is why I am placing Static Shock at 13th place. Alright, coming in at 12th place, we've got Batman the Brave and the Bold. Batman is my all-time favorite comic book character, and I like my Batman to be serious from Batman. The animated series, Justice League, a bunch of animated films, the movies, most of the movies. I like my Batman to be serious. Batman can be comedic, like the occasional one-liner on the rare occasion. However, I think Brave and the Bold took the comedy a little too far, and it wasn't what I was expecting from a Batman show. However, I will say that episode of Batman confronting Joe Chill, that was great. The whole confrontation, I thought that was executed very well. That was a great moment, but the overall show, not the biggest overall fan of Batman the Brave and the Bold, but I still enjoyed it. Rounding out C tier at 11th place, we've got the Zeta Project. A spin-off off of Batman Beyond. The Zeta Project, in my opinion, is criminally underrated. I really enjoyed the concept, what they did with Zeta after Batman Beyond, instead of like a throwaway character trying to give him his own story. I thought his story was really compelling. I enjoyed the dynamic of him and Ro, him trying to figure out, who he is, what his purpose is, and that he's a robot who was designed to kill, but he didn't want to kill anymore. That whole concept was really intriguing to me. The show had a couple of cool action sequences and a couple of cool storyline ideas. Also, I enjoyed the crossover with Batman Beyond. I really enjoyed the Zeta Project. Very underrated in my opinion, and that rounds out our C tier. All right, moving into B tier, and our number 10 slot, we've got Iron Man Armored Adventures. Iron Man Armored Adventures was my first proper introduction to Iron Man. My only other recollection of Iron Man prior to the show was his cameos in Spider-Man the Animated Series and Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes. So this was my first proper intro to Iron Man. I thought it was a little weird that he was presented as a high schooler and not as Tony Stark that we know now. But that being said, I still really enjoyed the show. I like the story they told of Howard's death and Stark not having access to the company and Obadiah Stane taking over. The dynamic of the three main characters of Tony, Rhodey, and Pepper, I thought that was done very well. I really enjoyed the show. It had a couple of cool moments, some really good episodes, some funny lines, some solid action. Also loved the cameos from Hulk, Doctor Doom, and Magneto. I thought the Mandarin and the Makluan invasion was done really well in the show. Really enjoyed the show, and that is the start to our B tier. On to ninth place, we've got Spider-Man, the new animated series from 2003, which aired on MTV. I'm gonna be honest, when I picked up this show, I had no idea what to expect, but I really enjoyed it. I thought Neil Patrick Harris did a great job as Peter Parker slash Spider-Man. I like that with this show, they tried to like fill in the gaps between Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, trying to like create some kind of narrative between the two films. Also, despite it being a terrible movie, I like that they included Michael Clark Duncan's Kingpin in this show, creating some kind of shared universe type deal. I thought that was a cool moment, even though the 2003 Daredevil movie was not good. The show had a couple of really compelling stories. I like the way they presented Electro in this show. I thought his story was done really well. The opening episode, I really like that. The romance with MJ, I thought was solid, way better than what was presented in the movies. Yeah, I enjoyed Spider-Man, the new animated series, and this is where it sits on the list. Moving on to number 8, Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Heroes. In my opinion, the best presentation of Fantastic Four on screen, film, or television, which isn't saying much because the all movies have been terrible. But I really enjoyed World's Greatest Heroes. I thought that the show did a good job at presenting the four main characters, their personalities, and stuff like that. Had a couple of really awesome scenarios to put them in. The Contest of Champions, for me, is a personal highlight. I like the way that was presented. The cameos from Hulk and Iron Man, really, really good. I really like the designs in the shows. The character designs in the show were really cool, especially Doctor Doom. I like the way his design played out. The show's penultimate episode, second last, with the Doombot Bruiser. I thought that was excellent, as well as the time travel episode. I thought that was really well done. I really enjoyed World's Greatest Heroes, and to me, this is the best presentation of Fantastic Four on screen that has been made so far. And rounding out B tier at 7th place, we've got The Batman. Um, I really enjoyed The Batman. The more I like the take they took on the character, this like early 2000s style. I thought that matched the character very well. I loved the voice cast. The voice actors for Batman and Joker in particular were really, really good. Some really cool scenarios in the show. I like that the show, the take they had on Batman working with the police, the take on Clayface, I thought was really cool. The show's first 3 seasons are definitely its strongest. Really like the opening. I like the way they introduced Batgirl and Robin, and the way the show built up. They had some really interesting villains. Hugo Strange, the way he was presented in this show was magnificent. I really liked what they did with him. Also, the introduction of Justice League in the show's final season, I thought that was really cool. Admittedly, the final season is the weakest in my opinion, but just seeing the Justice League together, that always brings a smile to my face, and The Batman rounds out our B tier. Kicking off our A tier, we've got Wolverine and the X-Men, and I really, really liked this show. I like the way it opens with the X-Mansion blowing up and Charles Xavier being put in a coma, and the X-Men are disbanded, and the show kicks off with Wolverine trying to get the team back together. The show's first the three-part opener of Hindsight. Those intro episodes were really well done, especially the first episode, the scene of Wolverine saving the girl from the RV or that exploded. That was really well done, and establishing the MRD as the villains. That was solid. I like their take on Magneto being the leader of Genosha and him bringing the mutants together, but when in reality he's the one who kind of facilitates the he tries to facilitate the mutant human war in the show's finales. So I thought that was really well done. I really liked their take on Emma Frost in the show. Thought she was presented very well. The dynamic between her and Cyclops was excellent. The Hulk's cameo again, really cool. Voice cast does a phenomenal job. Steve Bloom as Wolverine, in my opinion, was perfect. The best voice for Wolverine that I've ever heard. I thought he was excellent in this role. The show had a lot of awesome moments. They did a really cool thing with Angel and Mr. Sinister. That was excellent. Um, Nightcrawler in Genosha. That was really well done. Shows that delved into the episodes that delved into Wolverine's past were excellent. Badlands episode 16 with Charles in the future. That was really cool to see. Yeah, Wolverine and the X-Men was a great show, canceled way too soon, and it kicks off our 8 year. Sticking with the X-Men for number 5, we have X-Men Evolution. This was my first intro to X-Men. I watched this show in 5th grade before I had seen any of the movies or any of the other animated shows. I loved X-Men Evolution. I loved the character designs. I loved the stories they told, especially in seasons 3 and 4 after it's revealed that the X-Men are mutants, how they deal with that in their daily lives, especially in the school setting. I thought that allowed them to experiment with the problems of being a mutant in the public light. The way that was presented was done really well. I loved the build up to Apocalypse in the show's finale. That was really well done. The show had a lot of hard hitting stories, some really awesome humor, some really cool action sequences. I still go back and rewatch episodes to this day. I love X-Men Evolution. To me, this is the best representation of X-Men that I've seen. I really loved X-Men Evolution. It's one of my favorite shows, and it is number 5 on this list. At number 4, we've got The Spectacular Spider-Man. This show was phenomenal. It is a great representation of Spider-Man. To me, it is no question the funniest representation of Spider-Man. The quips, the one-liners, the funniest in any of the animated shows and even the movies. Like, this is, to me, no question, the funniest Spider-Man. Josh Keaton as the voice of Peter Parker / Spider-Man was phenomenal. He is this character. I loved his take on the character. The way the show presented the Venom storyline, the alien suit story in season 1 leading up to the finale, and then Eddie Brock becoming Venom and how that continued to play out in season 2, that was 10 out of 10 storytelling. It was magnificent. It was brilliant. I really like the show's villains. Tombstone in particular was excellent. J. Jonah Jameson, as usual, phenomenal. The romance is in the show with Gwen Stacy, MJ, and Liz Allen, and the way each of the 3 of them, how they impacted Peter throughout the duration of the show. I thought that was really well done. Harry Osborn and Green Goblin with the globulin green. I thought that was excellent storytelling. There isn't enough positive I can say about The Spectacular Spider-Man. This show was great. I was heartbroken when I found out it was only canceled after 2 seasons. This show deserved so much more, and it is a great show. It still holds up to this day, and I hope that we get a continuation of some kind in the future. This show was excellent. Alright, kicking off our S tier, we've got Teen Titans. I love this show. I loved all 5 main characters. Robin, Starfire, Raven, Cyborg, and Beast Boy were all presented very well. I love that the show gave them all individual character arcs and storylines to allow us to fully invest in them. The show, I love the anime style in the animation and the fight scenes. The villains, Slade, phenomenal. The way he was introduced in the first season and how he continued to play a role throughout the show, especially with Robin, that was excellent. The Trigon arc and Raven, that entire storyline was excellent, very well done. The show was beautiful, was not afraid to go dark and show some grit and some really compelling storylines. It also had some amazing comedy, especially with Beast Boy and Cyborg. This show was excellent. It had great characters, great animation, great fights, great villains. Everything about this show was perfect. It was really awesome, and I love Teen Titans. It is an excellent show, and it earns its spot in S tier. All right, on to number 2, Justice League. One of my all-time favorite shows. Never mind just the animation. I remember when I was in second grade, I had the DVD of Starcrossed, the 3-part finale to the season, to the show, I mean. And I can't even begin to tell you how many times I watched that DVD after school. And Starcrossed, one of the greatest series finales I've ever seen. The whole Thanagarian invasion was excellent. The way it showed the betrayal of Hog Girl, like that was all well done. The show, I love all 7 main characters. The voice actors all really did a great job at bringing these characters to life, especially Kevin Conroy. Rest in peace. The perfect Bruce Wayne and Batman. My all-time favorite Batman, and in this show, as always, he was excellent. I love the the multi-part storytelling that they went with, and that they took an episode and split it into 2, and in some cases 3 episodes, allowing for more depth. Some standouts are the Savage Time with Vandal Savage, Hereafter, where they showed the death of Superman. I mentioned Star-Crossed earlier. The Secret Society with Gorilla Grodd, the Injustice League with Lex Luthor. The show did a great job at presenting its stories and developing its characters. I really love Justice League. It's one of my all-time favorite shows, and to me, it is definitely earns its slot at number 2 in S tier. And finally, number 1, Justice League Unlimited. All the positive about Justice League was carried over into this show and amplified. I loved the way the show portrayed its stories, its characters, and it did a really good job at balancing the originals with the expanded cast. Some highlights: Doomsday, that entire storyline was very well done. Darkseid, the Destroyer finale, him coming back after being presumed dead in Justice League, that was really, really excellent. The whole time travel episodes were really cool, but the personal standouts for me are in season 2. Firstly, the Justice League versus Lex Luthor and Brainiac, and the scene of where the Justice League is down after they defeat the Justice Lords, and it's just Flash and Lex, and Flash does running around the world to beat down Luthor and Brainiac. That was excellent. To me, that is one of, if not the best moment of the entire Justice League animated universe. Like that entire scene, it gave me chills the first time I watched it. And the second standout is Epilogue, where it showed the story ending for Bruce Wayne slash Batman from the DC animated universe. His the final chapter in that with Terry McGinnis and everything, the way that entire episode played out. Also, the flashback with him and Ace, that was beautiful, picture perfect storytelling. Truly cannot say enough positive about Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. This was Justice League Unlimited to me is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, animated show of all time. One of my all-time favorite shows. Great storytelling, great characters, and it is damn near a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Like this show was excellent. And there we have it. That is my ranking of every DC and Marvel animated show from the 2000s. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and as always, catch you on the next one.